Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today we're going to go ahead and review a fragrance from the house of Paco Rabanne. The fragrance we're touching upon is none other than Paco Rabanne's 1 Million Cologne, the Cologne version of this fragrance. Now, the Cologne version of this fragrance was released this year, this past summer actually, just recently, and it kind of gotten quite a bit of acclaim already, just because there are so many opinions on what this fragrance actually comes across. Some love it, some hate it, some think it smells like another fragrance, and I was really intrigued actually to get my hands on it, go ahead and test it across the course of several days, and go ahead and give my opinion on what I thought it would be. So I'm proud to present to you this review. It's been a pretty fun experience. Now, the fragrance itself, it looks exactly the same not exactly the same, it looks very similar to how the packaging for 1 Million is in that gold bar. The only difference is this one is see-through. It's transparent, basically. You can see into the bottle, you can see the juice inside, and it's still got that same gold vibe, but I actually like the new transparent-y look to the fragrance. It's pretty interesting. I like it a lot. But for all intents and purposes, the bottle is basically the same. It's just a different colorway. Now, it comes in two main sizes, 2.5 ounces and 4.2 ounces. The 2.5 is going to run you about $62 retail, where the 4.5 is going to run you about $82 retail. So it's well within the price of designer fragrances, which is good, because I find a lot of companies tend to be jacking up their prices for fragrances just in general. So it's nice to see some fragrances at least keeping below, That's pretty much it. But either way, let's go ahead and get right into the notes of this fragrance. The notes of this fragrance consist of, at our top, we've got orange, citrus, sea notes, and cardamom. For our mid, we have rose and juniper berry. And for our base, we have patchouli, leather, and tonka bean. So when I smell this fragrance, the first thing that I thought immediately when I sprayed it was, oh wow, this fragrance smells like 1 Million, but a lighter version of 1 Million, which to me was right up my alley. One of the things that I had difficulty reconciling with 1 Million was the fact that it was just such a heavy fragrance. It's something that you sprayed on and people from miles and miles away are going to be able to smell you. Depending on how much, if you sprayed a lot on, you would definitely get a lot of people smelling you from X amount of miles away. And it was one fragrance that I highly suggested people, be careful on the trigger. The Cologne version, it tones it down, and it really is a Cologne version and feels like a Cologne version of the original 1 Million. It has still that same bubblegum vibe, it's still got the same cardamom, those spices type vibe, but it's toned down, and what's toning it down is the C note. That C note in it, and it's got a sea lemony note that just really puts an airy quality to it. So it makes it a lot more transparent, it adds a little bit of maturity to it, and it makes it a lot more wearable. Now, one thing that does take a hit is the actual performance on it, whereas the original 1 Million was a monster projection beast and a monster projection or a monster longevity on your skin. This one, a little bit less so. I would say it lasts still a good 8 hours on your skin, 8-10 hours, but the projection, it's a little bit closer to the skin, which is a good thing because it makes it a little bit easier to wear during the summer months. We're talking about summer, spring, fall, the times when it's a little bit warmer and you're getting a little bit of heat. This one is definitely easier to wear for it, which is right up my alley. I personally prefer fragrances that are along the airy, minimalistic line, so this kind of comes as a pleasant surprise to me. Now, when I said this is 1 Million light, there is another fragrance that this also reminded me of heavily, and that was Invictus. This actually, to me, smells closer to Invictus than it does 1 Million itself. That said, that doesn't mean that, this is, Invictus light or whatever you want to say. They all, to me, smell very similar. And if you go back and look at my Invictus video, that's pretty much what I said in Invictus, that it reminded me of a slightly different version of 1 Million. And the three fragrances, to me, they're all very similar vibes to it. So this definitely still smells like 1 Million, like a lighter Cologne version of 1 Million, but at the same time, it's its own fragrance in its own right, despite the fact that it does have some similarities to Invictus on it. Now, again, sucker for C notes, so when you spray it firsthand, you're going to get that bubblegum, that sea vibe. It tones down itself and becomes a little bit more of a salty, citrusy bubblegum. if you will, which is actually, it sounds really weird, but to me it comes off pretty pleasant. Now, I go about 4 sprays with this just because you can be a little bit more liberal in terms of sprays, and I think it's a perfect casual scent or a perfect scent that you can wear to the club in the summer. When it's really hot, it's just the heat is there, the humidity is there, and you want something that you're going to smell great, but at the same time that's not too overwhelming and too powerful. This is the fragrance that you're actually going to look for and see, it'll give you the success basically in that. Now, I've already touched upon the season, which I think fall, spring, summer, but as far as the age group goes, this one is a little bit interesting. I think that it has a little bit more of a mature vibe to it. So I think, even though it has a little bit more of a mature vibe, I still think any age group can wear this one. I do think that it just leans slightly more towards that mature vibe, but any age group could go ahead and pull this one off. And in terms of compliments, unfortunately, I didn't get any compliments when I was wearing this one during my testing phase. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to get compliments. Sorry, trade. Just based off of what I'm smelling, what I'm experiencing, I know that this was definitely a compliment getter, and you would be well served to, go ahead and give it a try. On the negative side, what is it? I had one friend who smelled it, and to him it reminded him of bug spray. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. And I actually do respect this guy's nose, and I mean, I respect everyone's nose, but at this, he did have a valid point of what he was. It kind of has this DEET-like quality at times. If you smell it, I can definitely see that comparison, which is unfortunately a little bit of a negative towards it. All right, so if I'm going to go ahead and give this fragrance a rating, I give this fragrance a rating a 8 out of 10. I give it an 8 out of 10. I was tempted to give it a 9 out of 10 just because it has most of what you would want in a cologne. It's great smelling, it's long lasting, it's not too intrusive, and it does well in its own rights. But the flip side that I'm not quite inclined to give it a better rating is the fact that, one, the compliments, I expected actually, despite the fact that people didn't compliment me, I did expect at least 1 or 2, to be perfectly honest with this one. But it may be because they think it just smells like 1 million. It's something that they've smelled before. So that's kind of the negative side to it, that it does smell very similar to 1 million, and even if you smell it on someone, you're going to have a hard time distinguishing between the 3, 1 million Invictus and 1 million Cologne. Definitely, go ahead and give it a try. But smells great, it's affordable. I think it's a good take on the original, and I think it's a good flanker basically. And I actually do think that it's better than the original. So I was tempted to give it slightly a better rating for it. But even the fact that I'm giving it an 8 out of 10, here's where the kicker comes in. I'm giving 1 million Cologne an 8 out of 10, but I would push the original 1 million to a 7 out of 10. I could possibly give this one a 9 out of 10 and keep the other one at an 8 out of 10, but I do think that this one is better than the original 1 million. All right? So let me know if you have any questions. Let me know what your thoughts are on 1 million Cologne. I've seen so many different opinions on this one. Some people have just outright hated this one. Other people have loved this one. And it's just interesting to see what the opinions are. So leave your opinions down below and, give other people some advice of what you think on it. Again, it could be completely different from what I think about the fragrance. That's what the beauty of fragrance is. We all have different opinions on it. All right? Thank you. Take care of yourselves, and you guys have a great day.